Hello, my friends. I am Bee, and this is Bee's Intuition. Today, we're going to do reading. I'm going to make sure that today is a quickie, whether I like it or not. um, and it'll be about what about you makes people so happy. I feel like that'll be a fun little reading to do. So let's just dive right into it, shall we? Please and thank you, Spirit. What makes the collective, or what about the collective makes people happy? Please and thank you, Spirit. Okay. This seems like a little more. Okay, we'll take it. Okay, so what came out is actually these are pretty good ones. So we have the Ten of Pentacles, the Ten of Swords, the Eight of Pentacles, the Magician, and the Judgment card. Then bottom of the deck is the Three of Wands. All right, let's just get right into the clarification. Starting with that Ten of Pentacles. Please and thank you. Please and thank you, Spirit. What about that Ten of Pentacles? What about the collective makes others so happy? Please and thank you, Spirit. Anything else for that Ten of Pentacles? Please and thank you, Spirit. Anything else for the Ten of Pentacles? So, clarifying that Ten of Pentacles, we have the Ace of Cups, the Eight of Swords, King of Pentacles. It's a really beautiful day outside today. I'm so glad that I decided to do this. And then we have the Ten of Wands. So far in this reading, I feel like I've been seeing recurring tens, because we had the Ten of Pentacles, Ten of Swords, and Ten of Wands is clarifying this Ten of Pentacles. So tens could be significant. Maybe you've been seeing a lot of 10-10 recently. There's something here about your story that makes people very happy. You give people hope. Honestly, I feel like this Ace of Cups for some reason is hitting me as you dispersing or dispensing hope to others. And I feel like it's because you found some level of stability within yourself. So you like to share your happiness, your peace with others. Maybe you like to give other people like tips and tricks to, I don't know, feel fulfilled in some way. But I feel like that's very appreciated by others. You bring like this genuine sweetness, I feel like, as well. I also feel like there's something about like you showing your hands, like you don't hide things. You don't, or at least you don't give off the energy that you hide things, if that makes sense. There's something very open about you, honest, authentic. People really resonate with that. The Eight of Swords. You could have been feeling, oh, okay, never mind. Well, I could say that message too, I guess, but you could have struggled with your mental health a little bit, like getting stuck inside your head, overthinking at times. But with the Ace of Cups and the Eight of Swords, I feel like you offer hope to those who need it most. That makes people very happy, because it's like you can notice in someone certain struggles that you yourself have faced. And so you feel this like empathy and you want to help wherever and whenever possible. Because you know what it feels like. So there's something about the way you relate to other people that feels very authentic and real. The King of Pentacles, clarifying the Ten of Pentacles, I feel like this just speaks to how you're perceived by others is like you are incredibly stable, secure, abundant, but also you're a boss in your own right. I don't get like a show-offy boss kind of vibe, but more so just like you're very knowledgeable, you're probably very skilled in a certain area of your life. There's a certain calmness to you, but people can also tell that you're a fighter as well. The King of Pentacles, I believe, is the only king that has a suit of armor underneath his cloak. And so it's like, yeah, you have this respectable, calm exterior, but if need be, I feel like you can hold your own for sure. This is something that people pick up on. There is something very strong and courageous about your energy that I feel like inspires other people. And with that Ten of Pentacles, or not Ten of Pentacles, we're clarifying the Ten of Pentacles. The Ten of Wands here. You are somebody that has a lot of responsibilities. Probably because you are a very responsible person. I feel like you take your commitment seriously and your responsibilities seriously. Definitely gives the energy of like with great power comes great responsibility. You could also be like a multitasker. Maybe that makes people happy that you can multitask things. But honestly, more than anything, this part of the reading feels like you give people hope. And it's almost through your own story, your own actions. You show people that there is hope, even when things look bleak, even when we struggle with certain things in our lives. It's almost like you're the living proof that humans can overcome anything that comes their way. Because I feel like when we are going through struggles, we can so easily say to ourselves, like, oh, I can't handle this. This is too much. And of course, that's okay, like, to, like, establish boundaries. But if you don't allow yourself the proper opportunity to meet that challenge and overcome it, then you'll never truly know what you're capable of, right? But you showed through example that the best way to overcome is to go through, if that makes any sense. So say you're experiencing some difficult emotions or some crappy mental health, and it's almost like you show people that if you go with the flow of things, you don't try to resist anything, you keep pushing, you keep trying your best, eventually you will become successful, or the things that you once felt were obstacles have become much easier to overcome. But it's, again, something about you leading by example here. It's very inspiring. People will see what you're doing day in and day out, and they're very inspired by you. I do think that some people could put you a bit on a pedestal, but yeah, from their perspective, it's almost like you do the impossible. But the thing is, it's almost like you're speaking from this narrative of like, yeah, I can do these things that seem impossible, but they're not impossible at the end of the day. And you can do them too, you know, like that's the kind of energy I feel. You give people hope, you give people happiness through the way that you navigate yourself in your own life here. Bottom of the deck here, we have the Knight of Cups. So there is that kind, loving energy that you show up in. I feel like when you communicate to others, you have a very kind, warm way of speaking. You don't come across as condescending or holier than thou. There's something I feel like that you kind of like to get on people's level, to kind of express yourself, especially if like maybe you have certain things to say, or maybe even some sort of critique in a regard, because it's like the way you say things, people don't mind if you're like giving them a critique, or you may be trying to give somebody constructive criticism. It's like they can see your heart in it, and they can see that you don't mean any harm by sharing these things. It's almost like they feel your authenticity and your heart space, because it's something about how your heart space sort of emanates from you in a bright, beautiful way. And so it helps people kind of feel like they don't mind what you're saying as much, because you show up in this way that's very relatable and real and honest and authentic. It like resonates deeply with others. And you're just a kind person. You show up in a kind, loving energy whenever possible. You could also be somebody that like expresses love very easily. And I don't even mean that simply in regards to romantic love. You could be one of those people that like tells your family members that you love them. Like every time you say goodbye to your parents, you're like, I love you, or your siblings, I love you, take care. But also like with friendships, like you could be like, I love you, I appreciate you, stuff like that. And I feel like that is something that makes people very happy, because it's like nobody ever has to question how you feel about them, because you'll tell them how you feel about them. And even if it's like more negative feelings, I feel like you have a way of like expressing that in a way that's not super harmful or painful. Yeah, very beautiful. I want to see what's underneath that Knight of Cups. The Hermit. So you have like this wisdom that is way beyond your years. You've done a lot of like self-work, self-reflection, deep inner reflection to get to some sort of truth within yourself. And maybe it's to find your truth and to find what you stand for, to find your purpose. You've gone within and found all of that information within you. And so now you can show up in a way that is a little bit more self-assured, more confident, and just more self-aware in general. And then it's like you can dispense that wisdom to others and sort of help other people to kind of find that ability to reflect and find their inner voice. You have a lot of like words of wisdom to share with other people. People really appreciate what you what you say to them in moments of difficulty. Maybe you're like a very optimistic person, or you're able to like see the positives in any situation or something. There's something about your wisdom and, is it worldliness, or I can't remember the term for it, but you're just very experienced, wise, and you have good advice and good words of wisdom. Like if you need help, or if somebody needs help in their life, I feel like they typically tend to go towards you because you have a way of looking at things that is either very unique or it's very deep and it just hits people and they're just like, that makes sense to me. Yeah. It's like you speak to people's like deep truths and it resonates very deeply with others. All right, let's go on to the 10 of Swords now. Please and thank you, Spirit. What do we have for that 10 of Swords as to what makes, what about the collective makes other people happy? Please and thank you. Okay. Okay, was there any others I flipped over? Nope. So interesting. Hold on. Okay. So clarifying that 10 of Swords, we have the Wheel of Fortune. The 10 of Cups came out in the reverse. Very interesting. And then we have, I think it's the Tower. And then the 9 of Swords. Oh, I think I see what this is saying. So the 10 of Swords that we're clarifying, that's really about going through a lot of pain, betrayal, backstabbing, being at your rock bottom. But it's also about beginning again after that pain. It also can be a mark of the end of that pain. Like you've gone through it to such an extent that it's like, now it's finally over, the pain, or that given situation that hurt you. And with, yeah, I'm just going to say what I feel. The Wheel of Fortune and the 10 of Cups coming out like this, to me, this speaks of like a false soulmate that you have experienced in your past. Because it's like you felt like the divine was directing you towards someone perhaps, and you thought that they were your happily ever after. Come to find out that they were not. And I'm being drawn to the books that each of these figures are reading, and so that makes me think of like lessons. So this could have been like a very big lesson for you. This false, could have even been like a false twin flame or karmic or a false soulmate, but you learned a lot from this experience, so it wasn't completely in vain because you were able to like take something out of it. But that's not to say it didn't hurt like crazy and lead you to your rock bottom, feeling completely devastated. But yeah, that seems like something that you've experienced in your past. And then that's so weird, I accidentally picked them up in reverse, but am I supposed to read it in the reverse? Well, it came out upright, so I'm gonna just read them upright. Maybe I'll give the reversal messages as well. But so the 9 of Swords and the Tower card. I honestly feel like the 9 of Swords, I felt like maybe it comes after the Tower, but honestly you could switch it around either way. But that foundation that you thought you had established there came crumbling down for you, and you had to adjust, but it was like startling and unexpected, potentially really shook up your life. I really do feel like this sense of like you thought your life was going to head in one direction, but then it headed in the opposite direction when you least expected it to. There's something about like your mind expanding as well, like you can never see that situation the same way again. But the tower falls because it needs to, because the foundation was not sturdy enough to last a long time. And something better is going to be built in its place. So I'm honestly getting, well, and also the Nine of Swords would talk about like maybe PTSD, anxiety, a lot of overthinking, a lot of feeling really bad about things, potentially even losing sleep and stuff. But there's something about this devastation, I guess, in your backstory that inspires other people. I also feel like there's a genuine, yeah, I feel like people feel happy for you because it's like people see that you've gone through something really tough here. And I almost feel like there's this sense of people feeling happy or relieved that you're no longer in that situation. Because maybe that situation was also like bringing out the worst in you. Like I think of, a romantic relationship. If it's really toxic, it could really bring out the like more negative, nasty parts of your personality. Even if that's not who you are as a person. And maybe people can see that you are happier now because you're no longer attached to that. That's no longer affecting you as it once did. You also are probably like a very strong person, because you probably do struggle with mental health issues. It could be a direct result of whatever you went through here, but it also could just be in general. It's almost like you don't let your mental health stop you from showing up as your best self, and I feel like that's very inspiring to other people. People could also be like surprised to an extent to hear your backstory, to know that you've gone through so much pain, because I feel like you show up in a way that doesn't really reflect that. There's also, this is an interesting sort of subplot that I'm getting here. There's something about you maybe keeping to yourself a little too much when it comes to when you're struggling. And I feel like you have either friends or family or support around you that would like to support you through your difficult times. You just have to open up to them. That could just be a side message. Like, you don't have to be strong all the time. It's okay to need help. I feel like somebody needs to hear that. But since I did grab them in the reverse, let me see what the reversal messages would be as well. So, yeah, this message is a little bit odd, but like the people in the Tower card in the reverse. I don't know about you, but this person looks almost like they're dancing. Like they're like hitting some sort of crazy little dance move. And so that, to me, speaks of before this tower fell in your life, there was somebody that you had to like be their gesture in some way, if that makes any sense. Like you had to always try to be on this person's good side, and you did not want to get on this person's bad side because they were probably very toxic. So you felt like you needed to kind of like sedate them in some way through your actions, through your behavior. You probably had to people please in this person's presence. And it feels kind of like being a gesture. Gesture. I'm not saying gesture, I'm saying jester. It's hard to pronounce them differently. Also, I don't know if you knew this or not, but a little fun fact. I'm a little bit of a history nerd, so I like to drop little history fun facts. But most jesters were actually people with either physical deformities or people that were disabled in general. And a lot of their act had to do with harming themselves or being the butt of the joke. Pretty much it was just a job making fun of disabled people, so that's a fun little fact from history. But you could have felt that way. You could have felt like you were the butt of the joke in some regard with this person. And it also feels like no matter what you did, you were never, this person was never happy. It's almost like, yeah, no matter what you try to do, you can't make this person smile. You can't cheer this person up. You can't make them act kinder to you. A white butterfly just flew by. I've been seeing so many white butterflies recently. I wonder even if it's like something, well, butterflies represent transformation, and the color white is typically a color of purity, so maybe there's some sort of purification process that you're going through in life. Maybe right now, or maybe it's something that you've been going through for some time. Purifying yourself after this situation, potentially. Maybe butterflies are just a sign for you in general as well. Maybe something to just keep the hope alive if you have been struggling. But yeah, you were in a really rough situation, and this wasn't something that could have really lasted long term. It wasn't sustainable. So I feel like to a certain extent you kind of maybe even subconsciously kind of wished for it to end. Kind of like knew that you would be better off without this person in your life, even though it was painful to separate from this person. And then the Nine of Swords in the reverse. There's something about your mental health being turned upside down. I feel upside down also. A lot of these messages I feel like kind of come through in an odd way, but I'm just gonna say them as they come to me because I can't overthink them. Otherwise I'll like lose the message. But there's something here about it reminds me of Alice in Wonderland, and but in the way of like topsy-turvy, you know? Like I'm thinking of like the Disney version of Alice in Wonderland, the cartoon. And how like she falls through the tunnel and then like everything's upside down. I feel like, yes, okay, so this is somebody that was really messing with your logic and reasoning. It's like they probably gaslit you and to such an extent that you didn't really know what was up and what was down. Yeah, you were very confused in this person's presence. Yeah, I feel like you were probably dealing with somebody that was really mentally irrational, but maybe they spoke very confidently, or they were very like delusional, but somehow made kind of, I don't even know, like did some like mental gymnastics or vocal gymnastics to try and reason things that didn't have any good reasoning, if that makes any sense. It definitely feels like a gaslighting sort of energy with that. It's just like you, probably when you left that situation, you were just so confused afterwards. Like, what just happened? What was that? Definitely feels like you could have gone through like a narcissist sort of dynamic with someone, where it's just like what do you want from me? What kind of reasoning is that? Like, why doesn't that make any sense? Like, what you're trying to say. And yeah, it just feels like a brain fuck. Yeah. For lack of a better word. Like, it just really messed with your head. And it probably took you some time to heal after that. Because it was like you had to reestablish your own mind, your own thoughts, your own feelings. You had to learn yourself again. But I feel like people are very happy that you have left that situation behind and that you have, in some regard, recovered from that painful past, that relationship. It really does feel like a relationship, but it could have been any environment, situation that really messed with you in that sort of way and destabilized you. Yeah. And then at the bottom of the deck, we have the Hermit card. And it's lit off to show the Knight of Cups underneath. So same as before. You're incredibly wise, and the wisdom comes from experience mostly. But you may also be a learned kind of person, somebody that either likes to learn, somebody that soaks up information. But I feel like more than anything, you're really like good at like adapting, learning, thinking fast, on your toes, kind of. There's something about the way in which you learn in real time that is very impactful, and it leads you to being very knowledgeable and wise, and therefore you can show up in this wise energy and help others that may not have overcome those things quite yet, like you have. There's something about that reassurance too, that like you've come out on the other side to tell the tale, you know? And that's really like it makes people feel happy and hopeful. You're also very much your own person in the regard of like you have a guiding inner light, and you let that inner light be like your GPS, you know? It's like very much like guiding you towards your path. So there's also maybe that strong sense of intuition that you like to follow. And I almost feel like this is a weird like side message, but I feel like even people that are like spiritual skeptics, you know, like those types of people that are like, they can explain away everything and be like, yeah, maybe you thought it was your intuition, but it was actually blah 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 blah. You know, like somebody that just loves to argue about like everything that has to do with spirituality. But I feel like even to those types of people, you still come across as very knowledgeable, very wise. And maybe there's almost like the people that would typically argue with your intuition, or the fact that you have an intuition or whatever, they see in real time that your intuition kind of knows what's up. So it's like people that would typically be skeptical of those types of things, for some reason they are less skeptical when it comes to you and seeing how you are spiritual in your own sort of way. Because I don't get the sense of spiritual psychosis, and maybe that's what people typically associate spirituality with. Like you don't have some sort of like, what's it called? God complex, or you don't think that you can maybe read people's minds or, you know, use the force. I don't know. But you have a very like sort of grounded, sensible way of going about spirituality. And I feel like that not only speaks to people that are spiritual, but it also speaks to people that are skeptical. And then that Knight of Cups, that definitely wanted to be seen because it slid off. This slid off to reveal it. So let's see if this has any more messages. Something never stopped you from showing up. I know that sounds probably vague, but like you don't let things keep you from showing up in your best self. I don't know how to explain that. Maybe there's also like a message there about feeling your feelings, and you give other people the permission to feel their feelings fully and not to feel embarrassed, not to judge themselves. And it's like, because it's worked out for you, people are like, you know what, maybe there's something behind this, you know? I feel like that is very much how you make an impact in the lives of others, it's through like this feeling of like, well, they kind of are living proof of that, so maybe I should listen to what they have to say. That's cool. Let's go into the Eight of Pentacles now and clarify that. Please and thank you, Spirit. What do we have for the Eight of Pentacles as to what about the collective makes others so happy? Please and thank you, Spirit. Okay. I just flipped over now. Oh my goodness. Y'all are ridiculous. Yes. Okay. This is interesting. So clarifying that Eight of Pentacles, we have the Ace of Pentacles. It's a bit windy today, I gotta admit. Then we have the Five of Pentacles. A bit of five. Okay. And then the Empress came out this direction. We love to see that. And then Justice came out upright. Beautiful. And then of course at the bottom of the deck, what do we have? We have the Hermit again. This little guy. But then it started to slide off, and it took whatever is underneath it and slid that off as well to reveal the Eight of Cups underneath. There's something about how you choose yourself, even if that's difficult. Choosing yourself, walking away from situations that you may not want to walk away from in the moment, but you ultimately know what's best for yourself. Makes a big impact in the lives of others. So it's like, yes, maybe that's what makes people happy with that Eight of Cups, is like, because you show people that when you choose yourself and you choose to walk away from situations for your own betterment, things get a lot better. And that makes people happy. But let's look at these cards that came out for the Eight of Pentacles. So the Eight of Pentacles is all about working on something and mastering that thing. Because you're working at it for so long, right? You start to master it. So the Ace of Pentacles, I feel like you started something out here. It feels very much from like the ground up, you started something. Self-made is what I feel like you really did. Like, it's like you brought maybe an idea down to earth. You put it into reality. You planted that seed in your reality. And the Five of Pentacles would maybe even indicate that at first this direction may have felt confusing, may have felt at times conflicting with the vision that you had for yourself. Like there's like this sense of disappointment, but this is at the beginning stages is what I feel. In the beginning stages, like maybe it's like you writing a book, and then you have that book published, you put it out there, but maybe not so many people are buying it when it first, like, you know, comes out. But maybe over time it starts to catch on, and other people are like making reviews about it, and you get like a bunch of good publicity about it. And then it's like, okay, the scales balance out, and there's changes that are shifting here for the best. But you could have definitely gone through this moment of bleakness in your area of expertise or what you've been working on. So it's like you planted these seeds in the hope of something paying off, but then it's like at the beginning stages, it looked like, oh no, I don't know if this is gonna pay off. Oh no, I don't know if this is gonna work out the way I had in mind. Or, oh no, like, what if I'm wasting my time? What if I'm wasting my investments? What if I'm, you know, I feel like you had a lot of doubt in a period of this journey here. But it feels like that's turning around for you. Because it's like you kept going through that doubt, through that insecurity of like, oh no, maybe this isn't gonna work out the way I had in mind, or, you know, maybe this isn't gonna work out or something. But you kept pushing, you kept going through that discomfort. You kept going through that period of like feeling like down and out potentially. Like, ah, geez, like I just can't win. I just can't get a leg up here. But again, I feel like that's shifted for you because this is clarifying the Eight of Pentacles, which would indicate that other people probably already see you as a master of your craft in some regard. So I feel like people see you as very successful, but maybe you don't quite see yourself as successful quite yet. Or maybe there's going to be like another part of your journey where it's like you start to finally feel that, and maybe that comes as a result of finally seeing those results that you were anticipating at the beginning, if that makes any sense. But the Empress coming out like that, there's something about your attitude, your mindset that is so powerful and abundant. And I feel like it's almost, you know, Taurus is associated with Venus, which the Empress represents Venus, but also Libra is part of that as well. But there is that part of Taurus that I feel like is being highlighted in my mind right now. And I feel like that's kind of perfect because I get this sense of stubbornness to you, and maybe your personality, or when it comes to your dreams and what you really want to accomplish. There is something about you being quite stubborn, but this is serving you. So I don't think that you're irrationally stubborn. Like if you feel like, you know, I don't think that you're the type of person to like, how do I word that? Like you're open to logical reasoning. So it's like if you think that frogs are blue, this is going to be a silly example, but say frogs are blue, and that's what you have decided, and you will defend that with your whole life, your whole being. But it's like maybe some scientific studies come out and, you know, people are like, oh, well, frogs are actually green and here's the like evidence and statistics and stuff. I feel like you're like open to that and you're like, oh, okay, so maybe if I, you know, look at these and, you know, I see the scientific, I don't know, like, I think you understand what I'm trying to say here. I'm just coming up with a really bad example. But you know, it's like, okay, like if the right sort of information, data, whatever is brought to your attention, I feel like you are open and receptive to that, and you're able to change or pivot, you know, even if it's uncomfortable at first, or even if you have to acknowledge that you were wrong in some regard. Like, I don't think you're like completely like, oh, you know, even though I'm faced with these facts that what I believe isn't true, I'm still gonna believe it anyway. Like, no, you're not that type of person. You're not like ignorant. You're not ignorant or like willingly ignorant or anything like that. There's a cute little jumping spider on my, okay, it's on my leg, but I don't know if you know this, but jumping spiders are so darn cute. I don't know if anybody remembers Luke the spider, I want to say. He was so cute. But that was actually, I think, based on Jumping Spider, the aesthetic. They're notoriously very cute little guys. Although one time I saw a pretty big one. I didn't realize they got that big. Well, it wasn't like big, but it was like, decent. Because I've only ever seen them very, very small. But anyways, Jumping Spider could be significant, so maybe that's why I mentioned that. I'll have to look that up to see what the significance is. But anyways, going back to the reading and the Empress card. You have this stubbornness about you, but it's not ignorance. And it's not that you're not like a brick wall. Like, you still can learn. You still can adapt. You still can alter things. And that's good. Change is good. It's part of life, no matter how old you get. And nobody ever stops learning, because we are limited in our capacities to understand things sometimes, and that's okay. It's part of being human. It's part of this beautiful experience we have here on Earth, you know? So you can be adaptable, you can be open to, hearing, constructive criticism, but if there's something that you truly do believe in, like a purpose, a destiny, like you have like a vision in your mind and it's so crystal clear that you follow it until the end. That's the kind of energy I'm getting. And it's like, because of this mindset, not only is it putting you on your path to becoming this master, but it also is putting you on a path to ultimate abundance and success. And this is something that people see very strongly in you. You're also probably incredibly attractive as well, because the Empress is a hottie with a body. Don't know why I said that, but it's true. The Empress is typically seen as an incredibly attractive person. Yeah, you have an abundant mindset, which probably took you some practice, because I don't think most of us are born with an abundant mindset, and typically we have to teach ourselves to think in an abundant way. Words are hard sometimes. And then the Justice card. I feel like this is like the payoff of all of your hard work. And so even if you're currently going through this period of difficulty of feeling like, I really don't know if this is gonna pay off, I really don't know if this is gonna end the way that I wanted it to, or, you know, I don't know, you know, like the vision may not be coming into fruition. You may have those doubts, but I feel like this Justice energy is coming into your life to kind of prove to you that all of these efforts have not been in vain, and the scales will be balanced. All of your hard work will be repaid in some way. There could also be a strong sense of karmic justice. So it's almost like in your area of expertise, people feel like I honestly feel like from the outside looking in, people feel like you're rocking it. Whatever you got going on, whatever your area of expertise is, like you've got it going on, you've got it under control. And people, like, if you're not experiencing this success right now, people think it's only a matter of time before you do. Like, it's so obvious to them that you're meant for this sort of success to take place here. Also, maybe there's some sort of recognition, because the sword in the Justice card is coming to, or being highlighted to me, so it almost speaks to something being revealed, the truth being exposed. And so maybe there's something about, like, the truth of your story. Maybe there's something about sharing your story that is important or inspirational. But I feel like it probably has something more so to do with all of your hard work. It's like that's being revealed, acknowledged. Like, wow, you should feel really proud of yourself. You did it. There's something about, like, recognition and people, like, I'm literally seeing like say a movie theater, and everybody's clapping in the audience. That's what I'm seeing in my mind. It's just a bunch of people sitting, like an audience that's clapping. They're clapping for you. Yeah, because it's like people are gonna finally see you for all of the hard work that you've done, for all of this stubbornness, but how it has served you. Oh, so maybe that could be another way you're inspiring other people, is like you're showing people that it's not necessarily a bad thing to be stubborn sometimes, especially when you're stubborn about your purpose, your destiny, or what you want out of life. And it's almost like you show people that if you stick with something long enough, you keep getting up even after you've fallen multiple times, you're going to achieve your success. I feel like there's something really strong about that here, about how you are a beautiful example for other people. And I feel like that makes other people happy and hopeful. I feel like the happiness that you spark in people is very intertwined with hope. You give people hope. You give people, and maybe it's just that sensation of hope. So maybe that's the way it kind of hits them, is like wow, my day doesn't feel so rough now that I spoke with the collective, and they had those, like, little words of wisdom, or maybe they talked about their experiences, and I feel like, you know, I kind of can do whatever I'm doing, you know? You know, that I can succeed. I can overcome. Yeah. Something really beautiful about that, though. Beautiful, beautiful energy. Yeah, so this Hermit card at the bottom of the deck is interesting. And then, again, it wasn't just the Hermit card that flew off. The Knight of Cups underneath also slid off for a second time to reveal this Eight of Cups. So there's something about this Eight of Cups that wants to be seen. Your journey to your own happiness, to your own fulfillment, to your own success, there's something about it that you make it very maybe accessible to people. Like, people see like, oh, I can do this too. There's something about that. Like, you lead the way, and it's like, I'm getting like the impression of like snow in a whole field. Like, a whole field is filled with snow, and then nobody's walked on that snow yet, and then it's like you're the first one, and you're trudging through this snow, and each step of the way you're leaving behind a footprint, and then another, and then another, and then it's like the next person that wants to go in that direction, now they have a path, because you were strong enough, you were brave enough to map out that path. And so maybe this is even a path that nobody's even ever thought of before. Or maybe you have a very specific sort of spin or twist or take on this path that is unique, and it allows other people to find it more accessible. Yeah. And I'm also getting like this feeling about like how, especially when it comes to relationships, like there's something about relationships too that like people really admire about you, because it almost feels like if you walk away from those relationships that are no longer serving you, love is always going to be there, if that makes any sense. Like, I know that some people feel that scared energy or that timid energy when it comes to leaving behind relationships, because there's that feeling of like, what if I never find the love of my life, or what if this is as good as it gets, what if, you know. But you show people that no, like, leave that person behind that is not serving you, that is not helping you in any way, because maybe you show them that it's more of a hindrance than a benefit. But also, you show people that there's love on the other side. I don't even know how to explain that clearly, but it's like you show people like maybe the different types of love, and how you're never absent of love in your life. There's always things that can help you feel loved, help you feel supported. There's something about that here, where it's just like you, from your personal experience and wisdom, you show up in this way of like showing people that it's almost like it will always serve you to choose yourself. And I feel like you help encourage other people to choose themselves. Yeah. Like, look positively into the future, because love is there, even if you feel like you're going to miss out on it. And that gives people hope again, and that happiness. Okay, let's go into the Magician now. Please, Nikki Spirit. What do we have for this Magician? So yeah, we're probably past the point of a quickie, but honestly, if the reading has to be a little bit longer, then maybe it's meant to be, you know? Maybe it's meant to be that way, yeah. Anything about this Magician as to, oh, what is it about the collective that makes other people so happy? Ooh, I like that energy a lot. Let's see if there's anything else for that Magician. We do got a little bit. We do got a little bit more for that Magician. What is that? accent. Anyways, clarifying, the Magician, we have the Knight of Cups and the Hermit. We cannot get rid of these two. So like you're the embodiment of a combination of the Knight of Cups and the Hermit, which would probably speak volumes about why people love you so much, because you show up in this beautiful loving energy. Especially when you communicate to others, you speak in a very kind, loving, warm way, but you're also incredibly knowledgeable, very wise. You have a lot of like wisdom, maybe even secrets to success within you. There's something about that here. You just show up in this way that is very unique to you and very likable, very interesting, very intriguing. That's interesting. I feel like that is also something that's being highlighted to me, is intriguing, that word. Because it feels like people may get a glimpse of you, but it's like they want to know more. And that would make sense with the other two cards that came out, because we have the Four of Swords and the High Priestess. So the Four of Swords can definitely be you entering this like sort of meditative state, or entering a period of self-reflection, self-care, self-isolating, but like with, I guess, productive intentions. And not productive in the way of like societal expectations of productivity, but rather productive in the way of finding your inner peace, finding happiness. So it's like through your prayer, through your meditation, through your spirituality, practicing your spirituality, practicing your self-care, self-love, you gain a lot of wisdom. And this wisdom is very apparent to other people. But the High Priestess, she's a very wise character. And she she shows the parts that are hidden, if that makes any sense. Like she has an air of mystery, because I'm pretty sure that like the High Priestess is known to not talk. I can't remember like how it's worded. It's like something along the lines of like she doesn't really talk, but that's because like she already knows. I can't remember how it's worded, but I've heard people talk about like how the High Priestess doesn't talk because she has all of the knowledge already or something, or she knows how things, oh, maybe it's that. She knows how things are going to play out before they happen or something. But anyways, the High Priestess definitely gives you this air of mystery. But it's like this mysterious, intriguing, maybe even slightly attractive sort of mystery to you, that people are like, ooh, what do they have going on behind the scenes, kind of thing. They want to know more about you. There's something very interesting about you. And this is all clarifying the Magician here. So you're showing up in this way of powerful manifester. And I feel like since these were the two cards that came out first, it's like something about who you naturally are, who you show up as, helps you to manifest. Maybe it's because you're very open and receptive, but you also can be sort of aloof and to yourself at times. So it's like, honestly, it feels like a balanced sort of sense of that, where it's like you're not always in people's faces all the time chatting their ear off, but you're also not always stuck to yourself, alone, in the corner somewhere. You definitely have like this complexity to you. And I feel like it's like, honestly, it feels like a balance, because there's something about that peace that comes with a sense of balance here. And I feel like it's because of the way in which you balance things. You balance yourself, you balance the things in your life. It's like that balance helps you to embody this magician energy much stronger, because you already have a good sense of balance. And when I think of balance, I think also about balancing out the masculine energy and the feminine energy, and how that can help us manifest in the way of like, when we have those two parts of us balanced, we know when to act, but we also know when to take a step back. And I feel like your intuition is very strong, and you listen to your intuition, very much so. And you let it lead the way. You let it influence how you show up in given situations. And that helps you to create this successful path towards your manifestations. So this part of the reading honestly feels kind of like there's something just like about just who the hell you are that makes people so happy. Like literally all you have to do is show up and people are happy. That's what I'm feeling from this part of the reading. Like just simply being who you are is enough. Simply showing up as your authentic self is enough. And it inspires other people and makes other people happy. Like even this image of the magician here, it almost even looks like the sun is behind this figure of this leopard. And like it almost even looks like there's a light emitting. I feel like you are very much like a light in other people's lives. And it's really, it's almost effortless because it's like, I don't think you're really doing that much in those moments when you're just simply showing up as yourself, when you're simply just going through life, doing your day-to-day thing. Like, you may think, I'm not doing anything that special. I'm not really doing, you know, anything that crazy. But to other people, they're just like, wow. It's like they're starstruck by you and what you do and like how you go about life. Let's see what these other cards are that popped out. I haven't looked at them yet. Well, now I have. Okay, well, we have the Six of Wands, Queen of Pentacles. We did have the King of Pentacles earlier. So that would probably indicate that you are balanced in terms of your feminine and masculine energies. Nice. And then Two of Pentacles, which honestly, I feel like that's kind of indicating that sense of balance here. Ace of Wands, which I actually really like because all of these are clarifying that Magician card further. I'm not sure if that was a mosquito or not, but don't land on me and look like a mosquito. Okay. Actually, I'm going to take a sip of me real quick. Water. I once saw an interview with I hate referring to women as like so-and-so's wife because I know that they have their own name and stuff, but I really do forget her name. You know, the actor that plays Jim Halpert from The Office, John Krasinski or whatever, his wife in an interview said that their children, because she's British and he's not, and their children, I guess, go back and forth with how they pronounce water, and she hates it when they say water with a American accent because it's like how she says it is very prim and proper, like water. But I guess when they say it, it's like water. And that's how she said it. And like, I guess it just made me realize how us Americans say water. It does kind of sound like water. I don't know, something about that just cracked me up. Anyways, that's neither here nor there. I don't even know where that came from. But this looks really beautiful because this Six of Wands is talking about your success here. And that success being recognized by other people. They see your specific talent, skills, and abilities paying off for you. And then there's that stable, solid, abundant energy with that Queen of Pentacles, but also that caring, giving energy as well. So it's like your abundance. You're not somebody that hoards their abundance like a dragon and you're like, get away from my hoard. No, you're very much like, I got plenty to go around, you know, like let me give a little bit over here, a little bit over there, you know. But also I feel like that's deeper than just abundance. I feel like that's more so just who you are as a person. You probably also like share like information very easily. Like if you have some sort of valuable information, you don't just keep it to yourself and gatekeep it. Like you haven't passed the test, you haven't answered my riddle yet to see if you're deserving of my wisdom and knowledge and information. No, like you're very much like down to earth and you're like, hey, if you need this, here. Like it's very beautiful. There's also a gentleness to your energy. It's like, I feel like the sense while I'm looking at this Queen of Pentacles that there's like, it's not about I don't know how to word this, because it's like, obviously we all need money in this reality, unfortunately, to survive. But it's like, it's not about the money or the status that comes with the money. That's not what really matters to you. Like, you have just a appreciation for life. You could very much connect with animals and nature. That is very, very highlighted for me right now. Like, those are the types of things that sustain you and maybe bring you inspiration or motivation. You have other motivations and inspirations other than, oh, I can't wait to get to this milestone where I'm rich and successful and everybody can see how rich and successful I am, and I get to buy all these sports cars and I get to buy a bazillion-dollar mansion that's way too big. Like, you're not that type of person. Like, sure, you probably would appreciate some material abundance, like all of us, that sense of stability, right? But it's not what drives you. You have such a deeper purpose that drives you. Yeah. People can see that and they love that about you, because it's like, yeah, I feel like also this sense of like a team player as well, where it's like, if I'm successful, everybody's successful. I can share all of this success with everybody. Yeah, it's really beautiful. It really is. Oh, there is like a black butterfly, maybe? That could be significant. But the Two of Pentacles and the Ace of Wands. The Ace of Wands, I feel like, is very beautiful, because that Magician card is what we're clarifying. And sometimes I see this Ace of Wands as exactly what it is, like the wand. Like maybe the wand that a magician holds before they like cast a spell or whatever, or a wizard, And so you know how to bring your manifestations into reality because you've done it. And if you haven't reached those milestones quite yet, you're gonna. Especially in the eyes of other people, they're just like, yeah, obviously they're gonna be successful. Obviously they're gonna, take on the world and be super awesome. I'm scared that my phone is going to overheat and then turn off. Anyways, but through finding balance in your life, in yourself, you definitely probably have had many, or maybe not many, but like, I feel like you've definitely been somebody that has struggled finding balance in your life. And I would say most of us do. There's very little people in the world. There's very, how am I supposed to say that? Pretty much not everybody is able to find stability and balance, but you have mastered that through moments of instability. It's just, I don't know, there's something very inspiring, very motivational about you that I feel like just encourages other people to feel like, wow, I can do it. Even if I feel like a complete mess, even if I feel like I can't do it, this person inspires me to believe that I can. That's really the energy that comes through for you. It's beautiful. And again, it's something about just who you are as an individual. Like, you simply just show up and everybody's happy. Like, you don't even have to do anything. You don't even have to talk to anyone. Just simply being in a room, everybody's like, you know what? Maybe life ain't so bad. It's beautiful. The Chariot card at the bottom of the deck. So that shows me about how determined and directed you are. You know, like, where to put your energy. You probably are very good with like making game plans for yourself, or just like plans in general, or general ideas of a plan. You don't even have to be super specific, but you're really good at that. But also you're really good about getting out of your comfort zone. Like, even if like unfamiliar territory. And I feel like that's usually the case with manifestations, because it's like there's typically a part of manifesting about, really putting yourself out there, really like putting your all into something, even if it's uncomfortable. And you keep going no matter what. Beautiful. I want to see what's underneath. The Magician. How beautiful is that? We're clarifying the Magician, and then there's the Magician right there under the Chariot. So beautiful. Yeah, you're an incredibly powerful manifester. You bring the magic from the heavens down to earth. You also bring your dreams down to earth in a real concrete way. You also have that divine intuition, wisdom, knowledge. There's also that, yeah, experience that you have. Like, people know that you're not all talk. Like, you walk the walk. You put in the action. And you're here to tell a tale and inspire everyone. Beautiful, beautiful energy. All right, let's go on to the Judgment card. Please and thank you, Spirit. What is this Judgment card talking about when it comes to the collective? And what about the collective makes people so darn happy? What makes them so darn happy here? Yeehaw. With that Judgment card. With that Judgment card, is there anything else? Can I be that dog? Can I be that dog? Okay. The way I was like talking kind of reminded me of that meme. Oh yes. So the foist one. Ooh, interesting. The foist one we had is the Chariot. So the Chariot's like, you know what? Let me just come out to bless you with my presence. And this is clarifying the Judgment card. So it's like your actions are leading to this next phase of your life that is going to be super transformational and very significant. There's something about your vision that is coming into reality, and I don't even know if you're completely aware of this or not. Then we have the Four of Pentacles in the reverse and the Devil card in the reverse, and I actually really like that, because that's showing me that you are smart. The Four of Pentacles in the reverse would indicate that you have become aware of the things in which you may have held on to too tightly before, or the things that just do not serve you that you were holding on to. And you're like, you know what? It's time to shed myself of those things, because they are just dragging me down, holding me back, weighing me down. They're not very helpful, not very useful. Definitely could have even been mindsets. Because it is the Pentacles, I almost feel like this, the mindset of lack, you could have come from poverty or an environment in which there was like restrictions, or a sense of being restricted, or a sense of like, you know, certain things being a finite source rather than infinite. Yeah, it's like you had to remove some things, shed some things from your past, and it probably had to do with mindsets, probably had to do with something with your material world. So whether that be shifting your mindset into a more abundant mindset, believing that it's possible for you to even create abundance in your life in the first place. But yeah, there's like a lot of wisdom that comes with this, of shedding those things, because you can clearly see at in those moments that, you know, this is clearly not serving me, and in fact it may even be hindering me and my success and my happiness. And so you shed those things because you're like, you know, I have no use for them anymore. And then the Devil card in the reverse, beautiful, because it's like the Devil card upright, you feel trapped, you feel stuck, maybe in your toxic habits, toxic ways of thinking, mindsets, addictions, those types of things. Feeling stuck and trapped in that, and almost feeling like you can never break free of them. You can never successfully bring yourself out of that. But in the reverse, I feel like you have figured out how to overcome those toxicities, toxic mindsets, addictions, unhealthy coping skills, whatever it was that shadow within that was kind of controlling you or hindering you. Maybe even a negative inner voice telling you like, oh, you really think you can do that? You really think you have what it takes? And you're like, you know what? F you, I'm gonna do whatever I want. And I'm not gonna listen to you because you're a big bully. And that's the thing about the devil, is like these people have very loose chains around their necks to indicate that they have way more control over this situation than they believe they do. And pretty much if they were to remove those chains from their necks, they could run away. This devil is just there to look scary. It's not going to chase them down. It's not going to be like, hey, you get back into these chains that I have here for you. Pretty much like all talk and no action is kind of like the sense I'm getting with that devil card. So it's like, in terms of like whatever it is that you're trying to overcome or remove or whatever, improve upon, like it really doesn't have as much control as you may think it does, or what you thought it did. And now you've come to realize that, hey, I'm actually the one that's in control here, and I'm the one that gets to control my narrative. And I'm going to fill my head with hope and positive affirmations and positive ways of looking at the world. Like, very beautiful. So all of that is playing a big part here in this rebirthing process that's taking place with the Judgment card. So like, because you've made these internal shifts more than anything, those are now going to be reflected in your results, because you did that inner work and you made those difficult choices of moving away from things that you saw were just hindering you, hindering your success, your growth, your manifestations, etc. And then the Knight of Swords. I feel like there's something here about you no longer being afraid to act. Act on your ideas, act on your plans here. The Chariot card and the Knight of Swords, I feel like those are really beautiful cards to indicate that you're no longer afraid to take action when it matters. And I feel like that makes other people happy, especially people that are rooting for you. They're just like, oh my gosh, I'm so happy that they are willing to step up to the plate, put themselves out there, do the difficult things. Move outside of your comfort zone. Move forward with a sense of confidence, boldness. Because that's a whole nother thing about success, is like, there are so many people out there that don't have your skill set, don't have the wonderful qualities that you have. And yet they're out there being super confident, being, sometimes very ignorant of their lack of ability. And they're hitting success. So what makes you think that you can't do that? And you actually have the skill set to go along with it. You know what I'm saying? Because oftentimes we are our own worst critics, and we tell ourselves, oh, I could never be that successful in that area, or, I don't have that sort of confidence. I don't have, it's really just about telling yourself that you can rock it. Actually, that's funny. I meant rock it, not rocket, but yeah, maybe you can just rock it to the finish line, because you have what it takes to sustain yourself on that road, on that path, to reach those milestones, to reach that success. And you're no longer afraid to move. You're no longer afraid to go into the next phase of your life. You're no longer afraid of change. You're no longer afraid of things that are different from what you're used to. Because maybe in the past you thought that was dangerous if things were not what you were used to. Which also could be applied to romantic relationships, because that can be a whole nother thing too. It's like, if you grow up in a household where you had like maybe toxic examples of love and whatnot, you get drawn into toxic relationships because that's what you're used to. That's your comfort zone, being mistreated or unappreciated or whatever. And so when you shift out of that, you can see that your happiness, it lies in that leaving the comfort zone. That space of leaving the comfort zone leads to your success and your ultimate fulfillment and happiness. And I feel like you also like bring that as an example to others, encouraging other people to do the same thing. Two of Wands at the bottom of the deck now. You make big plans for your future, and people really like the way you make your plans. I feel like there's something about the way in which you do construct plans and stuff that leads to your success. Maybe you even have a way of like creating things, creating a plan that you can even break into like little baby steps, so that it's not as overwhelming as if you did it all at once or whatever. And there's something too, like something's coming in for you, coming into your life, something that may have been the missing piece. So this could even be a collaboration. This could be success in terms of your abundance, recognition. There's something that's like a little bit of a missing piece. Not to say that you are missing something right now, but it's like something that could add to your life in a positive way. I feel like is on the horizon for you. It's coming towards you. Again, it has something to do with the fact that you are very good at plan making or making plans or believing in a vision in some way. You're like attracting something. I want to see what's underneath that Two of Wands. Knight of Wands. So that's another card of action here. That is the second fastest moving knight in the deck. So there is something here about how you're no longer afraid to take action. And with the wands, it would be like you're not afraid to take action on things that you're passionate about. Maybe standing up for what you're passionate about, communicating what you're passionate about, what drives you, what fuels you. Maybe something about your creativity. You're not afraid to act on the ways in which you are creative. Maybe there's something about like you being creative in your plans as well. Like you think about things in a way that nobody else thinks of them. It's like unique to you. You have a specific take that is unique to you. It's like your own winning recipe, your own winning formula. I just want to see what's underneath that Knight of Wands because I'm curious. Knight of Pentacles, how interesting, because that's the slowest moving knight in the deck. But the thing with the Knight of Pentacles is this is somebody that's a planner, that takes time to really think things through before they act. So although you're in this mode of action right now, I feel, you're very much someone with a plan still. Somebody that knows where they're headed. Somebody that has taken the proper time to plan things out, to lay out a general idea of where you're going, what you're trying to accomplish, all that kind of stuff. So there's a bunch of wisdom and groundedness that also comes from within, and it allows you to come into this time of success. Yeah. You're also incredibly smart and intelligent. I feel like I should say that to you because maybe not everybody tells you that. But I feel like that could be also something that people really find impressive about you, is your intelligence. Because I feel like it's also maybe a different type of intelligence, because I feel like we typically only see certain kinds of intelligence as intelligence, such as, being book smart, learning well in school, getting good grades, when that is not actually an ultimate determination of intelligence, because there's so many different types of intelligence, ways in which you can be intelligent, and just because somebody did really good in school, that doesn't always apply to real life afterwards. I know plenty of people that got really good grades in school, but yet are, and not to say that they aren't successful in their own right, but they are unhappy. It doesn't always lead to success of your soul, and what really truly fulfills. Anyways, let's go on to the bottom of this deck. The Three of Wands. So there's something about your ships coming in. So I really do feel like get ready to receive something. It's on the horizon, it's coming towards you, and it's something beautiful. Also with this card, it looks like a portal. So it's like this could be what this Judgment card is speaking about. There's a next phase to your life, to your journey, to your manifestation that is going to be big. And it's going to be very exciting for you. Full of color. So maybe if you've been going through a time of bleakness, there's a time of vividness and brightness and color coming in. I want to see what's underneath that Three of Wands. That's the Queen of Wands. So you're looking very confident. You're looking very attractive. People are impressed with the way that you present yourself and maybe show up in conversations. I feel like this sense of intelligence that's mixed with confidence. There's something about you being quite unshakable. And also when it comes to your passions and your creativity, it's like certain areas you're just like, nobody can shift me from this point of view. And I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing, because it's like, it's something that you hold very close to your heart, something that you are very much passionate about. Like you could be somebody that's very passionate about like human rights and stuff like that. Like you stand in your confidence. I don't know how to explain that. I want to see what's underneath that Queen of Wands out of curiosity. That's the Seven of Wands. A lot of Wands energy. Passion, creativity, attraction. You're probably incredibly attractive. That Seven of Wands is all about like success against the odds. Like again, there's something about your story and who you are and how things have played out for you. Like you show people what is possible. Even if you have the odds stacked against you. You show up and you're like, I'm, the proof that this is possible. And people love that. You give people hope and happiness. It's beautiful. Okay, let's take out the Oracle and see if there's anything that the Oracle would like to add to this. Please and thank you, Spirit. How does the collective make other people so darn happy? Please and thank you. Okay, that is way too many. I'll take what's on the top, but put the rest back. Let's see. Okay, let's see now. Oh, okay. So we have the Cayman and Poppy. This represents dreams. Ooh. And then the Beaver and Birch. This represents home. Ooh. The home one with the Beaver and Birch definitely speaks to me of like Pentacles and Ten of Pentacles, kind of, which we saw at the beginning of this reading. So pretty much like happy home, happy life. You're really good at creating a comfortable home. Maybe you work from home as well, and maybe that's something that has to do with your success. But also with this Beaver and Birch imagery, it's almost like something about working with your hands. You could even do woodworking or crafts, or something that you do with your hands you're very skilled at. People can see that. Like something about working with your hands creates a lot of stability for you. But yeah, also like your home could be a very warm environment, or you have this energy that feels like home. Aww. You feel like home for a lot of people. And I mean that in the best way possible. Like you feel like a safe place, safe space for others. Wow. And I feel like that just goes to further that message I was getting about like how simply by you just showing up, you make people automatically happier. So you don't even have to do anything. Just simply being there creates that sense of comfort and happiness. Wow. And then with the Cayman and Poppy, the dreams, I feel like you are a dreamer. You are, but like you show people that that's not a bad thing, because I feel like so often dreamers get a bad reputation of like, well, you're never going to actually follow through with any of those dreams that you have, or you're just a dreamer, you never actually. And it's like, you can be a dreamer and also somebody that takes action on your dreams. Like just because you're a dreamer doesn't mean that you don't take action on your dreams, or that you don't wait for the right timing to take action, or that you don't prepare for the right timing to take action or something. Like you show people that dreaming is life, and when you dream you can create so many beautiful things that were never thought to be possible before. You're a dreamer, but you bring that out in a positive way. Like it's not that negative type of dreamer that we typically associate the word dreamer with. Like you're a dreamer and you're an action taker. And that's how you show up. I also feel like there's that plan making aspect as well that keeps coming through this reading. You take your dreams, you make your plans, and then you take action. And you show people that that's the winning formula, the winning strategy here. Bottom of the deck, we have the opossum and peony, and that represents bashfulness. I don't know about you, but I love possums. I think they're the cutest, and I just wish that they could be my friend, but obviously not a good idea to try and befriend wildlife, especially if wildlife doesn't want to be your friend. But anyways, this represents bashfulness. Honestly, that bashfulness is hitting me as modesty in this sort of context. You're probably incredibly modest. So you're not the type to be like bragging about all the things you're achieving and like, oh, I'm just super smart and super capable. You would never understand something like that, like blah, 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 etc., etc. You're definitely not somebody to, you know, brag or make other people feel bad because they're not accomplishing the same things you are, or, you know, everybody has their own timelines and ways of going about things, and you're not somebody to judge other people for that. But there's like that sense of modesty and groundedness. Like you're not somebody to get a big head on their shoulders very easily. I feel like this sense of gracefulness as well that comes with that, because it's like you could so easily become arrogant, boastful, condescending, but you're not that kind of person, and I feel like that inspires other people even more. Also, this started to shift off and I saw what was underneath. It's the duck and chrysanthemum, which represents luck. So you're a lucky ducky for sure. But that luck, I feel like, doesn't just come out of nowhere. It's coming from within you. Because of the person that you are, you create your own luck. And you show people that it's possible to become lucky or create your own luck in life. That's an absolutely beautiful reading. I really hope that you enjoyed this. I know that I did. Sorry that my hands are up over my face, but I'd just rather be able to like look directly at you, not like, you know. Anywho, yeah, so that's the reading. Definitely not a quickie, but I think it was a really good one, and I feel like we had some really good messages in there. So if you like this reading at all, and if it resonated, feel free to like, comment, share, and subscribe. If you subscribe, you can become a part of the Hive Collective, because my name is Bee. Bees live in hives, and you can become an honorary bee like me, and we can be a bee family together. If you like my readings and you'd like to see more, be sure to click that bell icon down below so that YouTube actually notifies you the next time that I upload. And thank you so much for being here. I truly appreciate you, and I can't wait to see you in the next one.